Ok, estamos en Chapel y hoy nos vamos a centrar en el comienzo, en las misiones secundarias, investigaciones locales. Esta no sé dónde está, no me aparece en ningún lado, o yo no veo. Y esta, vamos a ir ahora, que está acá. Encontrar a alguien que pueda leer alfabeto braille, así que vamos para allá. Ahora sí nos vamos a enfrentar a esto que la otra vez le esquivé. A la verdad, no me acordaba que era de No, amigos, son demasiados. No, 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 amigos, ¿qué pasó acá? Muerto. Espectacular. Qué bien. Eran 4, amigos. Eran 4 tipos queriendo cagarme a palo. Qué locura, man. Me escucho. Acá no se golpeó la puerta, ¿dónde es? Acá es. A ver, ahora.
Good evening, sir. It's me again.
Leave me alone, I say, whoever you are.
No puedo.
All right. I shan't insist. Goodbye for now, sir.
Ay, tengo que subir de nivel para hablar con el señor. No, al menos los cagué para todo acá.
Remorse and pain are precious when binding you to the earth. You. I remember you.
No sé si tengo que seguir o volver. ¿Y eso?
Fear be gone. I would harm no child of my making.
This is your doing. You made me. Made me this creature. What are you?
I am the land. You are our champion.
¿Qué es usted? ¿Por qué me eligió?
You selected me. Chose me.
As shall my children yet to come.
What is it you seek?
This age is sickly. An ancient poison, an older rage, brewed in a cauldron newly forged.
This has something to do with the epidemic.
Seek truth, my champion. Defeat the serpent of knowing with iron spur.
I've had enough of others making decisions for me, pretending to know how I should feel or behave. So the vampire who made me is some sort of disembodied entity? Or was he just projecting this vision in my mind? Maybe Edgar can help me with this one.
Edgar Allan Poe. ¿Qué les cuesta decirme las cosas? ¿Y esto? Una fórmula extraña. ¡A la verga! ¿Qué pasó acá?
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
¿Esto ya estaba?
Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening, Doctor.
Acerca de los eventos recién en el hospital, a ver.
What can you tell me about the recent events in the hospital?
That Mr. Hampton killed Miss Jones in her room, then ran away.
And did you see all this?
No! I was working by the tents when it all happened. I only entered the room when they asked me to clean up the blood.
La señorita Jones.
Where is Miss Jones's body?
I don't know. I'd imagine the morgue. It all happened so quickly.
Hampton abandonó.
Did you see Sean Hampton leave the hospital?
I think I saw a silhouette exiting the hospital gates after the shouting started. At first I thought it was someone who was just scared, but... well, maybe it was him.
¿Qué carajo, amigo? Me voy 2 minutos al hospital y pasan estas cosas.
Goodbye, nurse.
Mirá el quilombo, amigo. Ah, el chabón, el cura mató a la vieja. No, amigo. Era un cura, ¿no? No. Totalmente sacado, boludo. A ver, vamos a hablar acá con la pelirroja.
Jonathan, my sincere condolences for your loss.
Your kindness is much appreciated, my lady.
My
Is there
waifu.
anything you require?
Revelar lo que somos a un familiar. Ver morir a todos nuestros seres queridos. What are you fucking doing, man?
I spied my mother at the funeral. Have you ever revealed yourself to a member of your family?
No, Jonathan. And I'd advise you even from thinking about it.
Mentirles a nuestros seres
Are we then
queridos.
condemned to lie to those we love?
We are creatures of deception, my friend. But this is more for their sake than ours.
¿Qué puede pasar?
But what if I was close to someone and wished to tell them the truth?
Fear, loathing, disgust. And then they will plead to be turned. They will see it as salvation. Then there's the risk of gaining the attention of vampire hunters.
Claro, boludo, si le decís, van a ir los cazadores de vampiros con tu mamá y le van a decir, mirá, o venís con nosotros o les cortamos la cabeza a tu madre. O sea, pensá un poquito.
Are we condemned to attend the funerals of all we love?
Dying is the final act of life, Jonathan. Present company excluded. Accepted.
Condenado a pasar la eternidad.
I don't know what to expect. Am I cursed to an eternity of solitude?
With time, we Ekon tend to go into isolation. If we survive long enough, that is.
¿Tenés derecho a hacer el culo?
As a practitioner of the medical sciences, I'm prepared for the death of loved ones. But mourning in the shadows, deprived of sharing one's grief.
We are no longer a part of the circle of life and death. We are undead, my friend. And so we are outcasts.
Goodbye, my lady. Until we meet again.
Bueno. Thank you very much. Bueno, la puta madre, déjame pasar. Misión principal. Escucha los gritos.
God protect us. You've got a leech in the hospital.
Yes, my hospital. My mission is to heal while you go about warring.
You've set the table for a snake. I wonder why there's venom in your food.
I'm growing tired of your song. You're a woodsman, McCallum, not a doctor. Return to your hunt.
Remember, I've a good nose for machinations. I can flare the scent at a mile. You can't hide from the god.
Leave him, Jonathan.
Mira, flaco.
This is sacred ground. Neutral territory. And I just had the carpet cleaned.
Te voy a cagar a trompadas, amigo.
By the sacred stole, this is very bad news. Bad news indeed.
Se está desmadrando todo, amigo.
What happened?
The hospital has been attacked. We have injured patients, at least one dead and several missing. This has spiraled out of control. Even the most infirm are asking to be allowed to return home.
Debe restaurarse la confianza. Nadie reparará unos cuerpos más. Teme por su reputación. No.
We cannot have the people lose faith in this institution. This hospital is their only hope.
Of course, you're right. But we cannot afford a public scandal. It would ruin us. We must restore order, and quickly.
You mentioned a dead patient. Who is he?
She, Jonathan. She was Miss Harriet Jones. I found her room like a slaughterhouse. Blood everywhere. The duty nurse is taking care of the mess.
No tengo ánimo para esto. Soy su única esperanza otra vez. Lo ayudaré, lo vamos a ayudar, pero ¿qué necesita ahora?
Very well. I'll help you.
Jonathan, please. I can't rely on anyone else. And this concerns you as it involves vampires. Someone has taken advantage of our more liberal tendencies here.
In what way?
Jonathan, I may turn my head when you or her ladyship indulge, but I will not allow this place to become a nest for street feeders.
Please then, tell me.
Sean Hampton, the man we thought we'd saved at the docks. It seems he was infected after all.
So Hampton became more beast than man.
Exactly. And now Guard of Prewen suspects the hospital of vampire activity. Do you realize what that could mean for us?
No atacarán, los protegeré a todos. No están tan equivocados. Los protegeré a todos demasiado, amigo. No están tan equivocados. Y sí.
Well, they are not far wrong. The hospital is almost crawling with vampires.
McCallum is a fanatic. The Guard will stop at nothing. You don't know what they're capable of, Jonathan.
Very well. Since I brought Mr. Hampton here, I will put an end to this.
El santo triste del SN. Poner fin al salvajismo de Hampton. A ver, ¿hay más para hablar?
If you don't mind, I have a few questions.
Sí.
I'd be delighted to help you if I'm able.
¡A la mierda! Conocí una criatura muy extraña.
I just recently met the strangest creature in Whitechapel. He was immense. He mocked me and accused me of hypocrisy.
Perhaps it was a skull. London's streets are overflowing with them these days.
It was a vampire, all right. But what kind, I'm not sure. He was large and very fast.
If you find anything more about this creature, the Brotherhood would greatly appreciate any information you could spare.
He was observing me with the obvious intent to do me harm. His very presence evoked a palpable sense of menace.
You need to be careful, Jonathan. You've no idea what this creature really is.
¿Qué pasó, mi ausencia?
What exactly happened here while I was absent?
Hampton turned, quite violently as it happened. Lurking about. Attacked Miss Jones. To say he created quite a commotion would be an understatement.
Hampton realmente
Are
lo
you
mató.
sure it was Hampton that killed Miss Jones?
There was blood everywhere, but no body. And you know the state she was in. I fear for what he did with her. Hopefully he just hid the corpse.
Cerca de la guardia.
How did the guard of Priwen come to hear of this?
McCallum has spies everywhere. He will jump at any opportunity to disparage the Brotherhood and show his contempt.
Entrar a una iglesia es difícil.
I recently tried to enter a church. It has been a very unpleasant experience.
The Brotherhood's research on the matter of faith and vampirism has proved somewhat insubstantial, to say the least.
Is this proof that I'm cursed in the eyes of the divine?
The wrath of the Almighty? There's no way of knowing. It could be subconscious guilt, or irrational fear, or deep-seated beliefs.
It's hard to explain in terms of science, that's for sure.
I'm sure Lady Ashbury will have far greater insight into this matter than little old me.
Who was that man in your office?
Geoffrey McCallum.
¡No! ¡Toqué sin querer! ¡No! Bueno, es líder. Espera, vamos de nuevo.
Who was that man in your office?
Geoffrey McCallum, actual leader of the Guard of Priwen. I suspect he's the man behind the rebirth of this old and dusty society.
They know I'm here now, don't they?
I understand your need for blood and will not get in your way. But if you could refrain from feeding within these walls, it would go a long way to defending your case.
What do they hope to achieve?
Their ultimate goal is the eradication of all vampires in the country. They see you as a threat to mankind, Jonathan.
Thank you, Edgar.
Okay.
Sean Hampton lives and breathes for the well-being of his flock. There's no other place he would go but the docks.
Okay. ¿Estará la morgue?
The flower's dying. It needs water.
Muestra de sangre vigorosa, una pequeña dosis de sangre vigorosa que puede usarse para crear sueros para resistencia para vampiros. Aumenta el índice de regeneración de resistencia un 100% durante 15 segundos. Y una fórmula extraña escrita dentro de ese papel. A ver. ¡Wow! Necesito y migraña necesito. Sí, señor. Neuralgia. La voy a hacer por las dudas. Bien, ahí tenemos todas. Espectacular, amigo.
Oh, Jonathan. I cannot believe my eyes. Poor woman. Butchered by some savage scowl.
Soy parcialmente responsable. Todo muere. ¿Podemos compartir esta comida? What?
Yes, and I'm afraid I'm at least partially responsible. The man, the Scowl, I brought him here.
Jonathan, how could you say such a thing?
Forgive me if I feel despondent. For there seems to be no end to the suffering and death that surrounds us.
I'm always here for you, Jonathan.
Has matado a esa mujer un poquito fuerte.
Have you embraced this woman, like the other patient, this Mr. Renfield?
Her name was Amelia. And no, I did not kill her. I vowed a very long time ago that I would never take another life, unless they ask.
La calidad de la sangre de los enfermos.
Is there sufficient vitality in the blood of the sick and dying patients?
Yes, Jonathan. The hunger gnaws at me every waking hour. Frankly, I'm starving.
Temptation surrounds us. Rich, vital. How can you resist?
Over the years, any pleasure I once gleaned from feeding is long gone. I drink for sustenance. And though I still thirst for more, I restrain myself.
¿Qué sabe de Ascalon?
What do you know of Ascalon? I was threatened by a creature, a vampire in Whitechapel, stating I had to obey the law of conduct.
What more can you tell me about him?
Era enorme.
He was bigger than a man. Huge, in fact. He seemed to radiate violence. I thought he was going to tear me apart. Then he vanished.
Fergal, the executioner of Ascalon. You were fortunate he was not after you, but rather out doing his master's bidding.
What is Ascalon?
The Ascalon Club are the most powerful vampires in Britain and exert tremendous influence. Take my advice and stay well away.
Wow. Dificultad de los símbolos.
I have experienced a certain difficulty when faced with holy symbols or trying to enter religious buildings. Have you?
Now that's quite a question. I don't know why, but yes, it has happened to me.
Es la voluntad de Dios.
Is this a sign? The hand of God in action? Are we repellent unto heaven?
I don't have the answers, Jonathan. But I believe superstition and magic is just fact awaiting the lens of science.
Aren't you frightened?
Very little scares me, my dear. To be compelled to avoid symbols of faith does not concern me.
Listo.
Thank you, my lady. I hope to see you again soon.
Nice. Con este no hablé con el chabón.
If only...
Good evening, Doctor.
Dr. Reed,
Can you tell me anything about the recent commotion in the hospital?
it's a tragedy, pure and simple. The hospital is meant to be a safe haven to all. We failed the people who trusted us with their care.
Do you think I should not have brought Mr. Hampton back here?
It's not your fault. You rescued that poor soul. It was the Christian thing to do. But we should have noticed his instability.
Bien, gracias, boludo.
Goodbye, Dr. Tim.
Hay nuevas cosas. A ver, voy a intentar hablar con algunos. Si tienen nuevas cosas, si no, sigo.
Good evening.
Good evening, Doc.
Ah, sí, mira. A todos seguro tengo esta pregunta.
What can you tell me about the recent commotion in the hospital?
Someone killed Miss Jones in her room, and Mr. Hampton's gone missing. Doesn't take a genius to piece it together.
You don't seem shocked by any of this.
Why should I be? Whoever did this must be long gone by now. And besides, he got rid of the old bag.
No, amigo.
Good evening.
Good evening, Doctor.
What can you tell me about the recent commotion in the hospital?
Everybody's afraid. Death has always been a frequent visitor. But murder? How can we cope with that?
As a nurse at this hospital, it is your duty to deal with these things as best you can.
Yeah. Until it's my turn to have blood spread all over the walls. I entered the room first, Dr. Reed. I've seen what that monster did to the woman.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawk.
A ver los tórtolos.
Good evening.
I need blood, Doctor.
Is there anything you can tell me about the recent commotion here?
Many things can happen under cover of night, Dr. Reed. But I took no part in this massacre.
But did you see or hear anything?
I can't say I did. But the smell of fresh blood almost made me faint, Doctor.
I'll leave you, Mistress of the... Good evening.
I need blood.
I'll leave you. Good evening.
Evening, Doc.
A ver vos.
Can you tell me anything about recent events at the hospital?
Before the shouts and the noises, I think I heard whispers coming from the stairs. 2 voices, maybe more.
Did you recognize the voices? What did they say?
I couldn't hear. Sounded like they were arguing or something.
Goodbye for now, mister.
What on earth happened here?
Por acá.
Good evening.
And good evening to you.
Can you tell me anything about the recent commotion in the hospital?
I'm sure it was not your fault, Dr. Reed.
My fault? What do you mean?
Oh, nothing. It's just... I heard it was you who brought the murderer inside our walls. But you couldn't know, could you?
Evening, Dr. Reed. Any news about my operation?
Please, tell me...
I heard Miss Jones call for help from her bedroom. There were some loud noises, like people fighting. All of a sudden, it went quiet. And then the nurse started screaming.
Do you know who the nurse was?
Not sure, but I think it was Nurse Hawkins.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
I will not let you down, my boy. So many deaths. And still more coming.
I'm quite busy right now.
What can you tell me about the recent...
Nothing like this would have happened if we'd had enough staff and proper shifts.
So you don't think the blame is ours?
We all hold fast here, Dr. Reed. Our methods may differ, but we are all trying to make a difference.
Thank you.
I'm all right.
Good evening, Doctor. How is my son doing?
What can you tell me about the recent commotion?
It's a disgrace. How on earth can patients be attacked in their own rooms?
Goodbye, Mrs. Gospel. Good evening, Mr. Gospel.
I'm okay.
What can you tell me?
I heard shouting coming from the first floor. I was asleep when it started.
Solo eso, amigo.
I have to go.
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
A ver si este sabe algo, güey.
It never ceased. Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Can you tell me anything about recent events in the hospital?
Oh, goodness me. This whole story is such a shame, sir. I have no idea how it happened.
What are you talking about?
Poor Miss Jones. Her body is missing. Someone stole it.
What?
Miss Jones's body has gone missing.
Yes. The body was brought here this morning, and now it's gone.
Who could have stolen a corpse?
That's exactly what I asked myself for the whole day. Who could do such a thing? These are terrible and shameful times, Dr. Reed.
O sea, robaron el cuerpo de la morgue. Yo quería ir a la morgue a ver qué onda. Bueno, vení, pa, te voy a curar.
Good evening.
Evening, Doctor.
Do you need medical attention?
Don't get me wrong, sir. I'm grateful for what you've done, but I've never felt comfortable with doctors.
I'm certain you have your reasons. But let me assure you, I'm not like other doctors you may have consulted with.
It is true. You risked your life to save me, after all. It would be impolite to refuse your counsel.
Goodbye, Mr. Thatcher. It seems the Pre were now redoubling their patrols in the district. I must be more careful.
Está el cura, boludo.
Fear no evil. We do the Lord's work here.
¿Me quiere atacar? Acá, flaco, estoy acá arriba. Se están cagando a trompadas.
Take a breath of this!
A ver, vamos a intentar hablar con la gente de acá y listo, dejamos.
You again. What do you want?
Pará, flaco. Ah, mirá, viste. Bien, bien, bien. Hay que hablar con la gente de acá.
Do you know where I can find Sean Hampton? I need to talk to him.
The sad saint. Why on earth do you want to talk to him?
He was one of my patients at the Pembroke Hospital.
Oh, yeah. I heard the poor bastard had been abducted by some cunt. You better ask Tom Watts. He knows Sean Hampton well.
Okay.
Goodbye, Miss...
Principals. She's got no idea who's...
Good evening, Miss Cox.
Hello again, Dr. Reed. What do you want?
I'm looking for Mr. Sean Hampton. Do you know where I could find him?
The sad saint? I heard he was mugged or something.
Yes, he was. But he left hospital recently.
You don't say. Well, I suppose it's good news for the homeless and the useless. Ask them, they must know something.
Can I see?
As long as you have money.
No tiene nada interesante. Por... A ver. ¿Qué pasó?
Mark my words, miss. These murders are the work of a vampire.
Not a drop of blood left in his body. This is the work of a vampire.
I'm a tracker
¿Quién era ese? ¿O no era nadie?
a vampire hunter.
You best be off to your hunting then.
¿Y ese
For
quién
if the
es?
sewer dog is back and hunting all these poor folk, he needs a catching.
A sewer dog? What's it look like?
It's an old story. A monster with daggers for teeth and icy claws. He comes of a sudden, nighttime, claiming innocence, then vanishes.
Teeth, claws, murders by night? Your sewer dog is my business. He's the kind of prey I hunt, milady.
¿Quién es este chabón?
Good evening, sir. Have you witnessed any suspicious activity or strange events recently?
And what do you define as a strange event? More to the point, who are you?
My name is Ichabod Throgmorton, vampire hunter extraordinaire and warden of the East End.
A vampire hunter? Really?
I know what you're thinking. I'm just another lunatic howling at the moon, but I'm not. The bloodsuckers exist, and they're close.
Mr. Throgmorton, I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. I'd like to hear more about these vampires you're hunting.
A man of science? Well, I'll be glad to enlighten you.
Vamos primero con lo... con esto.
What can you tell me about this neighborhood?
Did you hear about what happened to Jack Gillingham? Poor boy. It's a shame I wasn't around to protect him.
It's impossible to protect everyone. The violence seems endemic in this part of town.
But it's my duty. I am convinced Jack Gillingham was killed by a vampire. These evil rodents are spreading like a plague.
Bien, acerca de su trabajo.
So, how exactly are you protecting these people? I'm curious.
I patrol late at night, investigating anything unusual. I try and encourage people to stay indoors, but people are careless.
Can I help in any way?
Actually, yes. I plan to put up posters to alert the population to the vampire threat.
Are you asking me to paste posters about vampires around the docks?
If you wouldn't mind. If you did that, then I can focus on my patrols.
Nueva tarea.
How do you identify a vampire?
It's simple, really. They can't stand daylight. They're afraid of garlic and holy symbols. They also cannot enter a house without being invited.
Have you ever killed one of these creatures? Yourself, I mean.
Of course I have. What kind of question is that? It's a dirty business, believe me.
Have you heard of the Guard of Priwen?
Of course. They're dedicated hunters. A little militant for my taste, but they do let anyone join.
Were you ever tempted to join the Guard yourself?
I did think about it, but I'm more of a silent hunter. They're more of a sanitary militia.
So you hunt alone? That sounds risky.
Vampires are just like every other predator. They hunt when they're hungry and follow certain patterns. It's just a matter of observation and patience.
Okay, la última.
I'm looking for Sean Hampton. Can you help me, Mr. Throgmorton?
The sad saint? He should be at his night asylum at this hour, but I cannot tell you how to find it, sorry.
Really? Why is that?
It's nothing personal, Doctor. I'm sure your intentions are good, but people who sleep there, they have plenty of reasons to hide.
I could make you tell me, but I respect your refusal. You really believe Sean is a saint, don't you?
All I will say is this. Gossip has it that when he was a child, he was molested. By a priest of all people. Funny thing is, though, it only strengthened his faith.
Maybe at least you can tell me who could help me find him.
Tell you what, go and chat with Tom Watts. He's a bartender and good judge of character. If he talks to you, then it's fine by me.
Okay.
Goodbye, and good hunting, Mr. Throckmorton.
That's Tom.
Welcome back, Doctor. What can I do for you?
Tom, I need to find Sean Hampton as quickly as possible. I've been told you could help me.
I heard the sad saint was recovering at Pembroke Hospital. Did he leave or something?
I believe he returned to his flock. Can you confirm that?
Oh, I bet you're right. Sean can't help but worry about the poor and sick. Oh, I guess it has something to do with what happened to him as a baby.
Please, tell me.
Well, I don't like to gossip, but I heard that the sad saint was abandoned as a baby in front of a Catholic orphanage in Dublin. It would explain his faith and need to help everyone.
The important thing is I find him, quickly.
Why not try his night asylum? He takes care of those who need a meal or a roof there.
Where is it?
It's in an old warehouse, northwest of here. Just follow the bank to the west and go north when you reach the end of the pier.
Bueno, gracias.
Goodbye, Mr. Watts. Good evening, Mr. Delaney.
What? Ah, you're that doctor.
I'm looking for Mr. Sean Hampton. Do you know where I could find him?
I really don't know. I heard he'd been abducted. I don't know if he's back.
Who could tell me then?
About the sad saint. I'll try asking Tom Watts about him.
Ya le pregunté ya.
Goodbye, Mr. Delaney.
A ver la chica.
You still working at this hour? That's what I call dedication.
Miss Cavendish, would you be willing to help me locate Sean Hampton?
You better ask Tom, sir.
Why not answer me directly?
We respect the privacy of our customers here, sir. Only Tom can decide who to speak to and what he'll say to them.
Goodbye, Miss Cavendish.
Ya hablé con Tom, ya hablé, pesado.
Good evening, Mr. Fishman.
Yeah.
Any chance you can help me find Sean Hampton?
The sad saint. Why would you talk to that cunt?
Actually, that's confidential.
Really? Well, go ask someone else then. I'm sure Tom Watts will gladly answer you.
Goodbye, Mr. Fish.
A ver vos, muchacho.
Evening.
Evening, Mr. Reed.
Do you know a man who lives in this part of town? A man named Sean Hampton. I'm looking for him.
Sorry, sir. I don't know a lot of folks around here. Most prefer to avoid me.
Well, I don't think you should talk to him. He may be very sick.
Thanks for the tip. You might want to check the Turquoise Turtle. It's a pub not far from here. The barkeep knows everyone in these parts.
So long, Rufus.
¿Y la viejita? ¿Sabrá algo?
I'm trying to locate Mr. Sean Hampton. Do you know where he could be?
You talking about the one everyone calls the Sad Saint? The man who takes care of the homeless?
The very same, Miss Fishburne.
I'm sorry. I don't know where his shelter is. But if you ask around, I'm sure you'll get your answer.
I know. Gracias.
Goodbye, Miss Fishburne. Take care of yourself.
Estamos por hoy. Después nos vamos a ir a buscar al chabón. Muelles del Oeste. ¿Es por acá? Es acá enfrente, amigos. El próximo seguimos acá. Enfrente de donde es la misión principal.